whichever one this podcast is reaching you on. I want to welcome you to the Sons to Fathers Nugget. I'm your host, David L. March Sr., and I want to take this moment to say thank you to all that has been following me, those that has followed, and thank you to all those that have considered following. Thank you to all those that have shared this podcast, and I thank you for your prayers. I covet them often as we go forth, because the devil doesn't like when we enrich each other. The devil doesn't like it when the iron sharpens iron. The devil doesn't like it when we help someone find out their identity in God, and find out their identity as a man, and find out their identity as a child of God, and what their purpose and their destiny is, and how it affects their legacy. The devil doesn't like it. So that's why we're going to keep right on going with this podcast, to help others wake up and understand that they have a purpose and a destiny and a legacy that needs them. God needs you. God needs you for this time and this age, for those children that you're raising up. You hear me, fathers out there? Now today, I want to jump right into this. The 5 common mistakes that dads make. I want to throat punch the devil with this one. This one, it's got me a little emotional, because I see and I recognize some of the mistakes I made, and it breaks my heart. But I thank God for repentance, and I thank God for second chances. I do. None of us are perfect, especially when it comes to fatherhood. We need all the help we can get to point out our blind spots. We need all the help we can get to see and minimize and help get past where we are and minimize the mistakes and get better. Now, speaking for myself, I probably have more blind spots and make more mistakes than most. My personal opinion, that's how I feel. I could probably call this right now my 5 most common mistakes that I have ever made in fathering. But I observed many other dads. I've had mentors pour into me. But I've seen many other dads doing the same thing, making the same mistakes that I made, as in past tense. So with that in mind, here are some of the most common mistakes that dads make. Dads think they don't need help. Man, it's okay to ask for help, because we don't know it all. It's okay to go and seek the counsel of other men that you trust. It's okay to do those things, because it makes you a stronger person to stand up and say, I don't know it all. And makes you an even wiser person to stand up and say, I need help to do this. Stop thinking you don't need help. Like, being a good father means loving your kids well, and being engaged in their lives. It doesn't mean that you're being perfect or having all the answers and always responding the right way. It doesn't mean that at all. But one of the greatest gifts you can give your kids is the gift of humility, by seeking the wisdom of others and receiving critique well. Criticism. Taking it well, because if it's done out of love, it should be received in love. And just as my friend that I'm going to be talking about here in just a second, he pointed out some things to me that I did before, and I thanked him for this, and I went and I had the opportunity to go back and make it right for my kid or my daughter. But I'm going to be getting into that in just a second. But I want to get these down so you can get them before we run out of time. The first one is thinking I don't need help. That's one of the first mistakes. Number 2, being overly critical. And I failed at this many, many times. Now, when it comes to teaching our kids, we have to choose our spots, especially when pointing out when they have erred, when they've fallen, when they fell short. Now, our kids need to know that we are their best ally. We are there for them, not their worst critic. You don't need to have a discussion about every mistake they make, because that's harping on them. They probably are aware already that they messed up. Instead, ask them the question about how they feel, what they think they might have done different, and then give the encouragement. Tell them stories of your own failures at the same age. Listening and empathizing will earn you currency. And currency with your child goes a lot further than you harping on them all the time. And I've learned this, and I'm still learning this. None of us are perfect. None of us have it all together as fathers. We all make mistakes. So why not trust and open up to another guy? You know, it only helps. And even when we're overcritical, when we listen and we have that empathy, we'll earn, like I said, we'll earn that currency. And guess what? Also, let's do this. Let's make sure you get excited and ask a lot of questions when they have experienced success. When they have experienced success, let's ask a lot of questions. Let's get involved with their lives. That will be their favorite subject. That is what they will remember. That is the opportunity to start building your legacy if you haven't already. Number 3, thinking there is a fix for everything. Sometimes, man, there's no fix for that. You have to let your child go through what they have to go through. Need some water. That's good. Sometimes in life, just plain heartbreaking. Every time one of my kids express sadness, my quick response is, yeah, but what if this? What if that? I'm always looking to fix their problem or give them some silly silver lining. Positive thinking. It's okay to be positive thinking, but you don't have to fix everything. You understand? Oftentimes, minimizing their pain is just fine. Minimizing it, not healing it, not fixing it. Now, there are times when they need a perspective shift. You understand? A perspective shift. You might want to write that down. There are times when our children need a perspective shift. But too often I miss an opportunity to provide a much needed space and empathetic hug. We as fathers, I'm like I said, these are 5 mistakes that I feel like I have made or make at times. That I miss an opportunity for an empathetic hug, or a much needed safe space, an open ear, a shoulder to cry on, or an open ear when they just want to vent about their bad day. Sometimes my responses is even worse. I'll get upset because of the pressure to make everything okay. You don't have to make everything okay, Dad. Take that pressure off of yourself. That can be exhausting, not just for you, but for them. And guess what? That can cause that can be exhausting, and it can cause to make the next mistake. It can push them to make the next mistake. Does that make sense? Now, I have these written down, and because I have tears in my eyes right now, it's kind of hard to read what I wrote down, so please forgive me. But these things are so important. Number 4, disengaging, #being passive. Oh, yeah, okay, hi, hey, oh, whatever, okay, have a good day. Now, when the responsibility of fathering becomes heavy, I personally can feel paralyzed. I just want to unplug and hide. I want to go somewhere, to unload, to go somewhere and hide and just give me a minute because I'm frustrated. Now my son is into volleyball and he loves playing center. He loves playing his position. He also loves playing football. He loves playing quarterback. And I believe he has a gift to lead like that, a natural gift to lead. And I believe he'll be prosperous and successful in those positions. But here's my thing. I was hitting shots at him. I was throwing ideas at him, and it hurt and affected his confidence. And that's my fault. Just by some of the things that I was saying and how I was seemed like I was disengaged in what he was trying to accomplish. I told him, this is what I told him, okay? Sorry. I told him that that's when he needed to make a conscious decision to move toward the ball or whatever he was doing, even taking a step towards the shooter in basketball, or you're taking a step doing this way, or taking a step forward, or doing this with his hands when he's jumping for a block in volleyball. And that kind of hurt his confidence. Now he did make a bunch of saves, and he is doing very well in that. But as a dad, when the weight of responsibility gets heavy, I need to follow my own advice and step into it. Don't be so passive aggressive when it comes to being involved with your kid. Your child might be involved in some sports right now. Don't just sit back and watch them do it. Become a part of it, but have balance in that. Love on them because they're trying just as hard as they possibly can. Do that. Now, number 5, not being vulnerable with your kids. This is one of the biggest things I have. This is number 5, but it should be at the top of the list because this is something I tell fathers in closed sessions often, that we have to be vulnerable. Our kids need to see our emotions and the things that cause us pain. We all want to be a source of strength in our families, men. We want to put on that personification that we're hard, we can handle this, we can do this, we can stand strong, and we can handle anything that comes at us. I asked my son the other day, how often do you see me cry? And he said, not often. I said, but when I do cry, it's usually a hard cry. He said, no, it's not. I said, wow. Well, son, I cry hard, especially when I get frustrated in being a father. When I'm trying to be the best father that I can, it gets frustrating. But thank God I have your mother here to be that ear that I need, that shoulder to cry on when I'm feeling overwhelmed or I'm getting bogged down by trying so hard to be the best father I can be for you guys. He just looked at me, he started crying. And then he covered up his face, and I said, and Krista told him, David, bud, you don't have to cover your face. It's okay to cry. And son, if you ever listen to these in the future, like I've told you before, son, it's okay to cry. It is. It doesn't show men it's okay for you to cry. It doesn't say that you're weak. It shows that you have a heart. You have a passion. You care for your kid. And I believe that God will take those tears and strengthen you and your family and your kids